Hello and welcome back to our Westlaw training series. Today we will examine secondary sources. Just to refresh our memories, primary sources of law are the law themselves. We can see here we're at the homepage for Westlaw. Cases from the courts, that's definitely primary sources of law. Statutes, court rules, statutes, primary sources of law. Regulations, administrative decisions, primary source of law. These are the law themselves. So we want to make an argument to the court to influence the court's outcome, their decision making, their analysis. We would cite two primary sources of law. With that being said, there are instances in which we may not understand something, and so we may need to reference secondary sources of law or sources that help us better understand the law. All right, so I have a really silly case we're going to use today, and it was out of the District Court of Pennsylvania, Federal District Court of Pennsylvania, and it was a lawsuit against Satan and his staff. Remember, we are looking within this filing cabinet of all federal court cases, which is exactly where we want to go. So we're going to hit search Westlaw, and again, this is just a simple, plain search for Satan and staff, just the key terms I'm putting in there. Another video you can find where I look at the advanced search terms and connectors that can be used to find what we're looking for. Left-hand column, again, 10,000-foot view, cases, statutes, etc. Center column, you're going to see the breakdown that Westlaw has given me of the cases, statutes that it thinks are most applicable. And we can already see Gerald Mayo and the lawsuit that I'm interested in. So we're going to click here, and it's going to bring up the case, and you can see some related topics that might be interesting for us. But what I'm looking for is a particular aspect of this case that will require us to do some secondary searches. All right, so here is the court's decision. The plaintiff alleges a number of civil rights causes of action against Satan and his staff, and he is wanting leave from this case to file what is known as an informa pauperis. And so if we don't know what that means, we're kind of like, well, what does that even mean? I remember over here we can see some related topics about the dismissal of a prisoner's informa pauperis action. But that's too deep. That's too down the rabbit hole. I don't even know what this even means. So before I can get into determining whether or not this court is going to grant or deny Gerald Mayo's motion for leave to file an informa pauperis, I may want to do some secondary searches and to figure out what this is. Sometimes you can find head notes that may be on point. Here, not so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see, I'll just look here a little bit more. We see a head note for costs, fees, and sanctions. Okay. Payments of costs, fees, and sanctions. I can look at another head note that are under this filing cabinet, and they have like different folders within this filing cabinet of costs, fees, and sanctions. I can do it in general. I'm not quite sure what that is, but I want to show you a really powerful secondary source, and it's called Amjur. So click on Westlaw to go back to the homepage. All content, secondary sources. This is my favorite. If you were to buy this is like Encyclopedia Britannica for those of you who remember the pre-internet days. It's like Wikipedia before there was Wikipedia. And there's different types. You can let ALRs, American Law Reports, American Jurisprudence Second Series, Amjur. This is the best. You can look at others, but this is the one I want to go to. So I'm going to click on it, and it's going to bring you to the table of contents for Amjur. And you can see here that at the top, I can do all content, all of Westlaw content, which would be quite a bit, or I can limit it, or it's going to limit it to just Amjur, which is exactly what I want. Informa pauperis. And hit enter, and it's going to search for within Amjur what I'm looking for. Left-hand side, again, I can narrow it down. This is a 10,000-foot view. National, that's great. I can change the date. There's another video where I examine this in a little greater detail. But you can see, I've already gone there. You can see generally what is informa pauperis. I click on this, and it's going to give me left-hand side, table of content view. I can drill down into this content specifically. Center column, it's going to be the article, the document I'm looking at, or I can look at other related content that they may feel that Westlaw feels that may be helpful. Actions or defense in form of papyrus, failure of inmate. It's really pushing the inmate, which is really common. This is why it's doing, but it's trying to give you what they think's related content. West Key Number Digest. I recall the other one was 102. So this is saying 127, 129, 133. Okay, that may be associated something I want to look at. And ordinarily, where litigants cannot afford to pay a filing fee, the fee is waived so that poverty will not create a de facto barrier to access the courts. Oh, okay. Papyrus, pauper. I see the connection. However, the existence of a right for indigent, or those who can't afford to pay, to proceed without the payment of costs is a substantive one and is properly provided for by the legislature. That's interesting. Where's the footnote here? Click on the footnote and it says go to the footnote. So scroll all the way down. And so you can see different cases. This is out of Utah, this is out of Florida, that may be useful to me. I will tell you now, as a practitioner, this is gold. Particularly when you're like, I don't know what this is. Like what is this? So if you're trying to learn, become familiar with a topic that is new or unique that you're not familiar with, then this is a really great resource for you. And it's just as if you had the original Amjur, the physical copy, but you bought it in November of 2025. Like, okay, I see who wrote it. I see where it's found within this. It's going to be volume 9, Proceedings in Form of Papyrus. And I can go down and I can drill and find exactly what I'm looking for. Much like cases, statutes, Westlaw is always going to highlight the terms that I'm looking for. So I hope this is helpful to you. Again, if you're looking for basic information, secondary sources that help you with the background of a topic, a term, whatever it is you're looking for, I really encourage you to go to, again, secondary sources. My favorite by far is Amjur. There are other great ones. Black's Law Dictionary, which is just a dictionary, but for legal cases or for legal terms, boom, right here. Click in Black's Law Dictionary. I probably should have done this earlier. In Forma Papyrus. Let's see if it has it. I did not conduct the research before I prepared this. Oh, hey, Forma Papyrus. It has it. Woof. See, and I was trying to. This is what you sent it to me. There we go. It's Latin for in the manner of a pauper. Okay. Manner of an indigent who is permitted to disregard filing fees or court costs when suing the corporate. That's kind of what we've talked about before. I can see 28 USCA section 1915. So this is annotated United States Code. This is going to be useful. So great. Once I start going down this rabbit hole of finding information that is useful, then man, I can really start finding cases, statutes, etc. Some of the definitions will actually give you how to pronounce it correctly in form of papyrus. And I can click on USCA. Annotated means it's going to provide me notes. Those notes are secondary in nature. It's not the law itself. So we can see here's the law. And at the bottom, here's some notes. It's not much, but this should help me. Other times it's more useful. This time it's not. Okay, I hope this is useful. Please, if you have any other questions on how to find cases, key citing, or any other of the advanced features of Westlaw, please look at the Purdue Global Westlaw training playlist. Otherwise, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to look at this.